You join me for our first instalment of the medieval festival at Barking Abbey, which was held within the Abbey grounds. But before we go in, where we'll start with medieval music, I'll give you a brief history on the Abbey. Barking Abbey was founded in the year 666, and it was founded by St Erkenwald, who was the Bishop of London, and he founded it for his sister, St Ethelburga. When it was first founded in Anglo-Saxon times, it was started as a double house where both monks and nuns worshipped. They lived in separate accommodation, but both monks and nuns worshipped there together. And this is a reconstruction drawing showing what Barking Abbey would have looked like during Anglo-Saxon times. And the lady herself, St Ethelburga, she was the first Abbess of Barking Abbey. Of course, as I said, it was founded by her brother for her, and he founded Chertsey Abbey for himself. But in life and in death around her grave, miracles are said to have occurred around this lady. And if you go to the ruins of Barking Abbey today, you'll find some stairs over in the corner. If you go up them stairs, you'll find 3 stone slabs, and the central one is where St Ethelburga is said to be buried. Barking Abbey was host to more than just one saint. Second left, you've got St Erkenwald, who founded the abbey. Second right, you've got St Ethelburga, his sister. And right in the centre, you've got St Hildolif, who was St Ethelburga's successor. First left is St Wulfhild, and first right is St Theogirth, and they are the saints of Barking Abbey. The Anglo-Saxon abbey was burned by the Vikings in circa 871, and the nuns fled to their London estate, All Hallows Barking by the Tower. That church that's next to the Tower of London, which you can still see today, is London's oldest parish church, and it's sometimes referred to as All Hallows Barking because it was founded by and was the property of Barking Abbey. The abbey was refounded as a female-only community in the early to mid-10th century, and it would grow to become one of the richest abbeys in England. And we're going to a medieval festival today, but they're no new thing. They've happened before. But the abbey has played host to some famous historical events and famous historical people. Namely here, William the Conqueror, who stayed at Barking Abbey while the Tower of London was being built, and he took the submission and surrender of the Earls of Mercia while he was there. But as I say, the historical pageants and festivals are no new thing, and here we see one from 1931. This is William the Conqueror meeting the nuns of Barking Abbey during the Barking Historical Pageant in 1931. And 2 of the abbey's greatest benefactors were King Henry I and particularly his wife Matilda of Scotland, and she would serve as an abbess of Barking Abbey. She was just one of its royal abbesses, and here we see them being played by 2 reenactors from our historical festival that we're going to be going to. Elizabeth Chaucer, the daughter of the very famous Geoffrey Chaucer, one of the fathers of the English language, entered the nunnery in 1381, following nomination by King Richard II. And this is Barking Abbey in circa 1500, around 40 years before its destruction, and you can see how vast and what a large complex it was. As I said, it grew to become one of the richest abbeys in the land. And it was one of the last to go. It went in 1539. And another historical character who unfortunately played a very large role in the life of the abbey is Henry VIII, who you can see here being played by another reenactor. Not only did he stay at the Abbey of Barking, he would be its destroyer under the Reformation. So here you have Henry VIII, the Abbey's destroyer. Now I've shown you St Ethelburga here, who was the first abbess. But before we go in and enjoy our medieval music. Let me introduce you to Dorothy Barley, the last Abbess of Barking Abbey. Dorothy Barley, the last Abbess of Barking Abbey, was the sister of Henry Barley, a politician of Albury, and she was fortunate in having a personal friend in Sir William Petre, the young lawyer from Devonshire, making his fortune in the king's service. His sister-in-law was a nun at Barking, and the abbess herself was godmother to one of his daughters. So when the expected happened, it was of great good fortune that the king's commissioner receiving the deed of surrender from the hands of the abbess on the 14th of November 1539 was Sir William Petre. The abbess and 30 of her nuns assembled for the last time in their chapter house to execute and hand to Dr. Petre the deed of surrender. Ostensibly a spontaneous act, but she'd been well advised beforehand by her friends what to do, and they went quietly and without fuss, and were given generous pensions. Some monasteries and their inhabitants fought tooth and nail, and some of them suffered for it, but the ones that went quietly without kicking up a fuss, they were generally given generous pensions by Henry VIII. And the abbey went, and it became a stone quarry and was taken down stone by stone. People could roll up there with a cart and buy as much stone as they wanted. The lead from its roof was used in Henry VIII's palace, and that was the end of Barking Abbey. And Dorothy Barley here was its last abbess. Now, you'll join me inside the abbey grounds as we listen to some medieval music, and I hope you'll all enjoy that.
Shall we try